Hey, Karen. I know
Hello.
our episodes drop on a Monday, but since it's Friday, what do you think of doing a Five Things Friday theme this week?
I absolutely love that. And I mean, as we sit here on this Friday, and I'm sure when this episode hits, people will be able to relate. It's been a really fast paced month, a fast paced week, but it's been exhausting. So we're both a little tired.
Yes, a little fried. So we're going to be fried Friday with five fun things.
Oh, there you
Let's
have
get
it.
into it.
All right.
Here
Well,
we
let's start
go.
with maybe we'll start with the not fun thing first. One fun thing, not one
Sure.
serious thing, and then a fun thing. So,
There we go.
there is tons of content, debate, conversation, insights about the AI content watermark. Let's talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get into that. Yeah, so I know it's starting with Anthropic and maybe some others. They're going to start watermarking content created through their channels, which has caused many to erupt with cheers and some to erupt with jeers. And as with most things, there's more of a middle ground, right?
Yeah.
It's, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this yet.
I feel not great about it. I think it's a step,
Yeah,
but I don't know that it's the right step. So I am all for transparency, disclosure, and how you're using AI. But for those of us who are thoughtfully using AI for our workflows, even for editing, using AI in your writing does not mean that you did not write the piece, that you did not apply your judgment. So for example,
right,
I've used Grammarly a lot just to see my own blind spots. You write something, you
right.
go over it, you edit it. I'll run it through an editor. Is there anything that's problematic? Did I miss something? And I may look at those Grammarly suggestions and I may pull in that draft, but then I'll go over it again and rework stuff like, I don't really like the way that it said this. So I'm going to say it this way. Same thing with,
Yeah,
an AI engine like Claude. That doesn't mean I didn't write it. It doesn't. So the problem with the
right.
token to me is that there's no context to it. It's just like, okay, AI was used, but how was it used? And does that take away
Exactly.
from whatever result being a great piece that was generated by a human being with maybe a soft assist from AI?
Yeah, I do agree with you. It's, as we've long said here, it's a tool when used responsibly, when used as part of a craft, right? Because especially as we get deeper into it, it's really so much of how you are using it. You can't just say, "Write me 500 words on X." Uh, It's not going to give you the same thing as a seasoned communicator knowing what we need, or hey, can you help me out with this, and really considering it more of a de facto team member in a way
Yeah.
than just a straight up, all right, do my work for me. It's and
Yeah.
honestly, as a control freak to a certain degree, it's like, don't you tell me what was what. It's like I know what I put into this. So yeah, I think I see this backfiring for them a bit. It need definitely needs a lot more consideration
Yeah.
before fully launching,
I
but
mean, again, we are in the wild, wild west, right?
yeah,
And
we are.
everyone, every company, every person is figuring this out. There's going to be a lot
Yeah,
of tumult, I predict, in the next few years as we figure
yeah,
out the place. However, for those that are like, I hate it, AI, I never use it, you really are using it. You just are not. You may not be actively using the AI engines in your work
right.
or in your design work or whatever. But if you have a smartphone, you're using social media, you're using any tool,
Yeah,
database, press release, distribution service. It's hard to touch anything these days without AI being involved. So just
yeah,
recognize that even though you think you may not be using AI, yep, you are.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
really are using it, you're participating in it. And so I encourage, our professional community to not just hate it, turn a blind eye to it, but learn, be a part of the solution because there's a lot of figuring out that has to happen. Pick a lane. Maybe you are interested in teaching and figuring out, are there responsible ways that this can be incorporated into PR work? Um,
totally.
I find it incredibly useful to help me research things like
Mhm.
competitive intelligence, the media landscape, spotting trends. That's not irresponsible use, but we focus to me on AI slop and I'm
Yes.
sorry, I'm just not as worried about that because can we just be honest and say that bad writing has existed long before computers? There are people that write things that are just not good. Books, manuscripts, websites. Do you remember the websites that from old industries that
Oh,
had all
yes.
like the black stuff and the cartoon images that made you want to stab your eyes out because it was so bad, but to an industry, it was so normal that it was good.
Yeah.
So, I think we're fighting the wrong battle, like, AI slop is not the problem, it's human beings being involved, and here's a good way not to encourage AI slop, don't read it, don't publish it. Like,
Mhm.
we can protect ourselves from all kinds of bad writing by not reading it, sharing it, if you are a publisher, publishing it,
Yeah.
that's a good way to shut it down, but we act like this is the only battle on the AI front, and there's bigger issues that we really should be considering.
Yeah, and I mean, and I do get it. The frustrating thing is it's both frustrating, but actually heartening, and I hopefully our listeners across, the country are seeing this. In my local groups, we everyone is so over the AI slop of the flyers because it's all the block text followed by the handwritten thing. Too much information everywhere. And what I see in this is an incredible opportunity for communications professionals to educate because, yes, people who go to school for design, yeah, that wasn't a scam, everyone. It's a real profession, knowing where to place things, knowing when not to place something. White space is your friend, your eye and your brain. Graphic designers are trained on this. We, to a certain degree, are trained on this to know where the eye flows when it looks at a piece of paper so you get your message through. And also diluting your brand with this stuff because if everyone looks the same, I don't want to hear you complain that your store or your business isn't standing out. So be smart about it. It is kind of funny when I see commenters begging, please go back to the crap you were making on Canva.
I That is hilarious.
And these are everyday, this is not like people in the industry. These are
Yeah.
people. So there,
I
it's a
yeah.
glimmer of hope in our world.
I think for me, I don't I don't really see all the flyers, and I'm not but what does bother me is when it becomes deceptive, right? So,
Yeah.
whether
Yeah.
it's in
True.
written content or, the thing that really gets under my skin is these AI photos that
Yeah.
are used to represent your product or service.
Yeah.
That's wrong. If you're selling, food, your restaurant, I don't want to see AI photos. I want to see pictures of your actual food
Yeah.
because I'm coming there and that visual is a part of it. It's the experience. It's the description of the dish and what's in it. And it's seeing an actual photo. And
Yeah.
even if it's not like a pretty polished photo, I wanna see what the food looks like. I don't want a menu that has AI or stock
Yeah.
photos on it. If I'm buying a pair of shoes, can I see the actual shoes? Because I don't wanna
Right.
get to a store and then have it look completely different. That is
Yeah.
deceptive, so let's
Definitely. Definitely. And look, I know a lot of businesses are on super slim margins. So, even if you can't hire a designer or a photographer, but trust me, there are so many solo designers and photographers out there who really are not going to rob you of your money. In fact, if you approach them to fix something that you made in AI, that's going to cost a lot more than just saying, here's what I'm thinking, and they'll just do it outright. But let's take that all the way down to you can do okay with your cell phone. Those cameras are pretty darn good.
I I hate to say that, but it's true, and some
Yeah.
things are fine. At least it's genuine. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
again, like, we know everybody is fighting the budget issue,
Right.
and in this case, AI is not always the answer.
No.
Sometimes it's better to just be honest,
Yeah.
genuine, transparent.
Yeah.
I shared food photos and I'm like, listen, I'm not a food photographer. I'm not even a photographer. I'm actually pretty terrible taking a picture. But I'm so happy with how this came together and what I did that I had to share it. Now, I'll
Yeah.
put that out, in the wide public, but I'll share it to like my little groups.
Yeah. Because when it comes down to it, it could be costing you money in that it's money you'll never see walking through your door because people might look at an
Yes.
AI generated photo and just go, nope, next.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
well, speaking of next, there's something else out there,
Yeah.
negative SEO. Talk to me a little bit about that, Karen, because you brought that up and I
Yeah.
thought, ew.
So, there's some litigation pending, and I'll share a link to this newsletter that landed in my inbox. And I was like, wait a minute.
Mm,
I think I can share the link. But anyway, so there there's a US battle, right? And it's over SEO sabotage. What? Who even knew that that was a thing? So businesses are deliberately using toxic backlinks to damage the online visibility of competitors. Crazy making. I mean, I'm not surprised because we've seen this with the rage farms, but that's crazy. So
yeah.
when I thought about that, like, how many of you have ever encountered like malware I have where I had to like call in a service and cleanse my website and do the whole resubmit to Google
Mm,
because somebody had hacked the site and put in like horrible content? Well, think about this being applied to backlinks. And so I think,
yeah.
for all of us, we've thought about negative SEO as par for the course and you do what you can to like push the negative stuff down. I never thought of it being weaponized against you. Well, there may be legal recourse for businesses. And so for me, the eye opener was, oh my God, I need to actually go through and like check backlinks for myself, for my own sites. Like, your clients may have SEO experts internally who are already doing this, but if they don't, maybe small, medium businesses aren't this savvy. It's something to make your clients aware of it, but it's also something we should be aware of to make sure that our names and brand reputations aren't attached to toxic backlinks. Never knew this.
Wow. Yeah. And, I know at least within the auto realm of digital advertising, the automakers have rules of that you can't do certain things against fellow
Yeah.
retailers. So this is, that's fine in a controlled environment like that. But for other businesses that don't have those protections or at least those ground rules, this is definitely
Yeah.
yet another
It's
thing
kinda
for us to
tough.
keep track of. But,
Definitely.
good times, good times. Well, speaking of good
So,
times, the fine people of New York City witnessed something interesting rolling through the streets. I won't make hairball sounds because I don't want to make anyone feel ill.
yeah. Tell us about this, Michelle. This is crazy.
So apparently, you know what? In a world of AI, experiential marketing is having a moment. They hear the hair product company K18 literally rolled a giant hairball through the streets of New York City in promotion of one of their products. And honestly, the notion of a giant hairball makes me want to gag, but I'll try not to. But, we just thought this was kind of hysterical. It's like, I'm sorry, a what? A what was rolling
Yeah.
through the streets?
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently it was successful. And, it's just, again, acknowledging that we are still craving real things, even if it's a hairball.
Even if it's a hairball. So, yeah, this was crazy because it was a stunt called the tumble hair. And of course,
Ugh.
eh, actually, there was some people were shocked and it was for the launch of their product, Future IQ, I think. And so it's some hair longevity serum. But what was funny to me is that this happened in New York City and New Yorkers actually did stop to be like, what is that? I'm sorry, New Yorkers, y'all are the most unbothered people on the planet, and so, in my mind, you would be like, "Eh," but New Yorkers were intrigued, so that's saying something. That must have been one gigantic hairball. So, there was a lot of
You
social
know,
media, which you want with, your experience, a lot of people writing about it, a lot of engagement, and so it was successful.
yeah, exactly. Well, and the only thing I could think is it would get their attention, especially if it's in their way. I'm walking
Yeah.
here. Move, hairball, move. And if anyone's ever tried to navigate their way through Times Square trying to meet people for a show, you know what I'm talking about. I turn into a New Yorker. I'm like, "Ugh."
Exactly, exactly. So, I don't know, I've never been on the experiential marketing side of the fence that I can remember. I don't know, sometimes parts of my career escape me,
Yeah.
but God bless. I'm glad that this
Oh,
worked out and,
telling you, they
no, it
do
was
work
fun,
hard.
and it was a
Yeah.
little bit of real life, in
Yeah.
person, fun. So,
You know
good on
what?
you, K-18.
I'm gonna have to find out if I have two very dear friends of mine are experiential marketing veterans. I'm gonna have to ping them and be like, "Did you do the hairball?"
Please, Al. Were
I
you
will ask.
finished?
Yes, yes, definitely, because, yeah, that is something they would do.
All right. So shall we haven't talked about books in a long time. Are it's kind of that
Yes.
time of year for the beachy reads. Are you reading anything fun?
It is actually yes. You know what? I am in my quest to become a more voracious reader. I am actually digging in on something called We Solve Murders by Richard Osman, and it is really good. I'm about halfway through. Definitely a great beach read, good summer read, actually good any time of the year read, but it's engaging because it's he's a good tight writer, and us word nerds will appreciate that. The chapters are really short and snappy. You're moving along, which keeps you turning the page. It's about a private security firm, and there are uh, murders of social media influencers are a part of it, but they're just cogs in the wheel of a bigger scheme. And it's got a little, secret agent flavor, interesting characters on the run, everyone from seasoned pros to, shall we say, armchair detectives. So I'll leave it at that. How about you, Karen?
I love that.
Mm.
Actually, that book was on in a saved article of mine of the books that you have to read this year because I'm always adding to my book list.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah. I haven't gone to the beach to read, but
Mm.
this summer I did read recently this summer. I read a book called Olivia Strauss is
Ooh.
Running Out of Time, and it's
Oh.
by Angela Brown, and it actually was such a great read. It was interesting in that the underlying topic really dealt with life and death matters and just that sense of we have this finite amount of time to live. There's a plot twist in it that I won't spoil for you, but it was done in this very relatable way as we look at the dreams that we pushed aside, the things that we
Ooh.
didn't go after, and what happens if you're confronted with, I only have so much time left. But
Wow.
it was really a fun read. It kept me engaged in turning the pages and wanting to finish it to see like what was going to happen. And it was also very inspiring because I think tackling a subject like that is something that everybody on earth can relate to. None of
Yeah.
us has an infinite amount of days.
Right.
And so it made me just it inspired me to like, huh, dust off some of those things. Let's take a look at the things
Mm.
we've shoved aside and let's think about, being more intentional in this season of your life. So yeah, good read. Olivia
Oh.
Strauss Running Out of Time by Angela Brown. Highly recommended. I'm reading another fun one too, but maybe we'll have another book talk here
Oh,
on the podcast and we'll talk about
absolutely.
last time we talked about business books. So maybe next
Yeah.
time we'll talk about the fun stuff that we're reading too.
And you know what? The fun stuff's important because the even just the way that you summarized your experience with that book, it matters because, the books, they make us think.
Yeah.
They help us even relate to ourselves. And, it's also good to read someone else's writing. It gets us out of our own head.
It does. It inspires our creativity. I always think that
Yeah.
reading outside of work, outside, different genres
Yeah.
is really helpful to sharpen our own writing. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I know I've long tried to conquer that ingrained Pennsylvania Dutch work ethic. "Oh, don't sit and read. Must always be doing." I'm like, "Shut up. I have to go read."
I love reading. I've
Yeah,
always
me
loved to
too.
read.
Yeah,
And I know that most of our audience, they're big readers too, because people who read are attracted to this profession, so it's a
true.
common interest that we all share, but
Yeah,
sometimes life gets in the way and you don't have enough time for it, so make some
true.
time before the summer goes away to grab a good book for fun. It doesn't have
Yes.
to be about business. We love learning, we love business books, but challenge yourself to get through a book or 2 before the summer
Yeah,
ends.
definitely, and just looking ahead to September, September is National Library Card Month, so
Yay.
I would be a poor public library board member if I did not suggest that you get a library card, and honestly, they offer great things, like, I know my local library and many around us. With your library card, you can access publications from around the world, newspapers, if we're all looking to trim subscriptions, which many of us are, even though if we have the bandwidth, I always say support your local media. But if you're trying to trim your budgets right now, I know my library offers pressreader.com, so you can read all sorts of newspapers just with your little library card.
I
Mm.
love
So
that.
shameless plug.
Yeah, and librarians are very modern. I know that
Mhm.
we have this viewpoint, so they do offer a lot of services.
Yeah,
There
they
are
do.
libraries that have the appliances that you can
Yes.
borrow. Yeah.
The
So
library of things, we call
yeah,
it. You can get a
yeah,
power washer,
yes,
bunt cake pan,
yeah. It's a
even
great place to go.
yeah, it really is. Even a lot of them have work pods. I know our library is looking to partner with the local chamber to create, like, a co-working day here and there. So anyway, just
Yeah.
running off the tangent, but well, that wraps up our fun Friday that you're listening to on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. But we're glad you're along with us for
Yeah.
this ride. And of course, we are committed to helping our fellow solos just do well and succeed in business. So please hit us up at soloprpro.com or that sololife.com. And until next time, thanks for listening to That Solo Life.